Now, to do what I really came up here to do, I have 4 people that I would like to bring forward, and they're going to share with us some of their stories, some of the things that we're dealing with, some of the challenges that we're talking about that we'd like to face and combat here today. First, I'd like to bring up Ms. Jennifer Tavares, who's the president of the Tompkins County Chamber of Commerce, and she has a story as well as her own experiences that she will share with us. As she comes up, I would also like to bring up, come and take a seat, please. Yes. I'd like to bring up Mr. Barry Briggs. And Barry is a part-time mentor for the Ultimate Reentry Opportunity at the Multicultural Resource Center. He's a mentor for those reentering from jail or prison. He's been formerly incarcerated himself. He's trying to start his own catering business. He's currently homeless. He was staying at the Birdhouse, which was owned by the Quakers, but now he's back at the rescue mission. He has a young daughter, but cannot bring her to live with him until he finds stable housing. And then lastly, I would like to bring up Ms. Sheila Ramos and Ms. Sharon Payne. They have their own story to share with us about where they had to live for a long time and being told that their leases where they had lived would not be renewed. Okay. So my understanding, Sheila, you would like to go first?
Yes. Good morning. Good morning. Single mom of 2. My name is Sheila Cyclet, and this is my story. Back in July of 2014, I had a newborn and a son. After living at Parkside Gardens for 7 years, management informed Section 8 tenants that they will no longer be working with the housing voucher. So we should begin to look somewhere else to live. At the time, I was unemployed, recovering from an ankle injury, and dealing with legal matters, not to mention I gave birth to a baby. The news couldn't have come at a worse time. I quickly began filing in applications for local complex units, but their waiting list was long, and my family needed affordable housing soon. It had almost been a year since I was told to move, and management was running out of patience. But landlords were turning me away because I had a housing voucher. I then went to GEC for help. There, Ms. Leslie arranged a meeting with INHS to try and get housing through them for myself and other single moms who were being displaced. Despite INHS receiving one of the biggest grants through the city of Ithaca to build low-income housing, they refused to make any accommodations in their application process. Okay? According to them, you're poor, you have to have perfect credit. Impossible. According to them, you have to have an outside income. Okay? You cannot just have DSS. You have to have a job or an SSI check or D or some kind of other income. So the next step we took was meeting with the city manager. We had three encounters with him. They got us nowhere. Our pleas and even suggestions to hire local contractors to create affordable housing and at the same time employment opportunities for families went on deaf ears. I was almost homeless when an ad on Craigslist by the Acabelli Properties. They are a family, a local management company, the Acabellis. There was renting a 3-bedroom unit and welcomed the Section 8 voucher. After signing the lease, I found that they were also part of the Immaculate Conception Parish, which my family has been a part of for about 10 years. This act of community humbleness, okay, is what we have lost in our city. We have all allowed outside greed and desire to accommodate, interfere with our simple ways. And we are shutting out families who need housing due to these negative new ideas about people who are less fortunate. Okay, this is what's going on here now. Okay, we are just all caught up in, trying to accommodate people who already have the means and forgetting about the ones that need the help. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. Good morning. My name is Sharon Payne, and I live in Parkside Garden for 7 years again. And I was forced to move to a trailer in Newfield with the floors caving in. Housing around here sucks. I'm a single mother. I work for the city, and it's still hard for me to get apartments. Now, I'm in a place where I'm at, with drugs everywhere. I have a 16-year-old son that I'm trying hard to get away from, but it's hard. Housing needs to get better. I'm a working mom, struggling day by day to get by housing. Like I said, I'm in a place right now that I don't want to be in. Day by day, I see somebody, when I walk out of my apartment, shooting up heroin. I have a 16-year-old son, black now, that I'm trying hard to keep. I've never been away in a place with drugs like that. I wasn't raised like that. All I'm saying, help us get better housing.
How y'all doing today? My name is Barry, and I am a returning citizen. I'm here to tell you a little bit about the struggles of what I went through. It's been hard. After a 2-year stint, well, I've been in and out of jail since I was 16 years old. I had a hard child life, but that's neither here nor there. After that, after being locked up for a long period of time like that, I was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, PTSD, and depression. Being alone like that, it really affects you. We're not supposed to be alone. We're human beings. We're not supposed to be locked in a cell or anywhere dark places for long periods of time like that. We go crazy. So, with that saying, the struggle with me coming home since 2013, the end of 2013, I had a breakdown. I started taking medication, and it made me the person I really didn't want to be. It started slowing me down more. I couldn't think for myself no more. And the place that I was in, it was drug infested. It was just not a good place to be. So I reached out on Facebook to my family to see if anybody would help me get out of the place that I was at. Thankfully, my aunt and my uncle, they sent me a ticket to come to Ithaca to be with my grandmother and my sister. I came to Ithaca 2015. 2015, I came to Ithaca. I went to the shelter. Been homeless ever since. Hopping from couch to couch. Been to the rescue mission a couple of times. The rescue mission, you can only be at the rescue mission in the shelters for only a period of time, 30-day period of time, before they kick you out again. So that's a real problem too. In 30 days, you cannot, I don't care who you are, in 30 days you cannot find a place to live, a stable place to live. That's not including me having to find work, me trying to get back with my children. It's a lot, you know. That's not including the mental issues I was going through. So it was a lot behind the scenes that I was going through. Just recently, I've been with the URO for about 4 or 5 months now. And if it wasn't for URO backing me, They gave me the backbone I needed. If it wasn't for URO being in the community with the ties that URO had, I wouldn't be where I am now. I have some great updates. I did find housing. I went through struggle to find housing. When I first came out here, I signed up for Section 8. When it came up to get my Section 8, they put me through all kinds of loops and whatever you want to call it. They had me go through the process of getting my voucher, them to call me and tell me that they're taking my voucher away due to, what did they say? Something about adequate paperwork with me and my daughter, stating that how much time I'm gonna have with my daughter. So, all the paperwork that they asked me to get, I gave it to them, and then they asked me for more paperwork. So then I gave URO the power of attorney to talk for me. And then once I did that, then everything fell through. They asked me to get one more statement from my daughter's mother. And then after that, URO Fabina, which is, she works through MRC, and she is the URO head. She's amazing. She is amazing. So Fabina got on the phone and actually got TCA to admit that they messed up. So that was, if I didn't have URO, and it's not just me fighting Section 8 and other organizations like that, it's a lot of people in the community. So if I didn't have that backup, I wouldn't be where I am now today. The updates I have now today is, I did find housing. I did find a 2-bedroom. My daughter does come up to visit me every weekend. I am starting TC3 in January. I am going for entrepreneurship and culinary arts. I am starting my own line of hot dog carts. So I just found out last night that I did receive the grant that I needed to start my business. So look out for NJA's hot dog carts coming soon. I'm in NLI, National Leadership Initiative, taking classes in NLI. I just received an award from the Rescue Mission Hope Awards for personal achievement and being a positive role model in the community. And that's about it.
Thank you, Barry. And just quickly, for those of you who don't know, URO is the Ultimate Reentry Opportunity Program.
Thank you. Wow, you guys are tough to follow. Those are very moving stories. I have opportunity and perspective to speak with a lot of people and hear a lot of stories from employers and also from people within our workforce. And so it's not often that I go through a day or a week where housing as a major issue that our community is facing does not come up and dominate a meeting or a discussion. I don't make it through many days or weeks without hearing about personal stories where people have had struggles either finding appropriate housing, living in this community, moving to this community, or where we have employers who don't have significant job opportunities and struggle to find adequate workforce in this community. And so many people have already touched on some of these issues. I myself personally, I know this doesn't seem like, Joe, thank you for sharing your story, because mine is more similar to yours, certainly than to some of these individuals. But I think that what that illustrates is, and what I'm an advocate for, is that we need income appropriate housing choices at all income levels. It's not, You know, I don't like that the conversation is so often dominated by, quote, affordable housing, number one, and the fact that that has a stigma, whatever that means to people, or that it's spoken about in a negative way. Because I think that regardless of where someone is at, in terms of socioeconomic status, they want to achieve a comfortable quality of life. They want to be able to afford the housing, and even someone who might be perceived as having adequate income in this community is likely spending far too much of their income on only their housing, as everyone else has illustrated. You know, me trying to move here with my family, you know, we had 3 weeks to make a choice about where we were going to live, to find a house, to pick a school district. People don't often associate talking about school districts. I'm usually the one around the table that's saying, hey, don't forget that school district and these arbitrary district and municipal boundaries all play a part in these choices and also in what we see playing out in the market. And so the first house rental that we found, because we still 2.5 years later own a house in another county not far from here that's not selling, because the markets in our other surrounding areas are extremely different than in Tompkins County. So we had to rent when we first came here. And 6 weeks into our first rental, we discovered there was a significant mold problem in the house that we were paying an awful lot of money to rent 10 miles out of town. So we had to find another house and relatively quickly break the lease and move to another house 12 miles out of town, much farther from our workplaces than we preferred to be. Also paying more than what we ever would have thought we would be paying. High utilities, because insulation was not what it should be. Quality was not really what it should be. Dealing with rodent infestations the whole time we were living there. And I say this as someone who I can recognize I have means that many people do not have, and this was still my experience trying to move into and find appropriate and quality rental housing in Tompkins County. I'm not saying it's everywhere, I'm not saying it's everyone or every house, but this is really what happened. And it took us nearly 2 full years to find a house that we could afford, that was within the school district. We didn't have many choices, you know, and I think that a big part of this is about choice. People should have more than one choice, where they want to live, where they need to rent, where they want to buy. And at the end of the day, we had like 3 houses within a given price range that we might have even been able to consider buying within a 6 to 12 month period. And I'm okay with it. We got a nice enough house, but, you know, similar struggle to Joe's. All the calculations we made moving to this community and thinking in terms of resources were off. They were drastically off from what we expected would be happening. And so, you know, it just really has illustrated for me, there's a lot of people that are going through the same thing. And again, I hear from employers all the time that are struggling to accommodate the workforces that they have and to attract new people into the community. And I think that's a big risk for us, because we have opportunities as a community for growth and for job creation that not everyone has. And we have people that need to work here and that want to work here and to live here. And if we can't find a way to capture that opportunity and accommodate those individuals and those employers, then we will be 5 to 10 years from now missing out on a lot of economic growth. And every time we have employers that can't fill those higher level positions, they also can't fill their entry level positions. We struggle at all those different levels. And I also just want to say, as an employer, we have young professionals in our workplace that have shared so many stories with me about their struggles with affording rent, finding apartments, finding places to live. The percentage of their income that they're spending on housing is, you know, significant. And when you're dealing with college loan payments, when you're trying to persuade these people, hey, you got to start putting something away for retirement. It's never too early to start. And what they're dealing with economically, it's difficult for them to even conceive, you know, how am I going to plan for 20 years down the road? How am I going to think about creating a life for myself and my family that will be affordable? You know, so these are really big issues. And I just finally want to share one story. A young woman named Samantha that works at our organization. She moved here in April of 2013 for a job. She had to accept the job before she knew for sure what her housing situation would be. And so she said, sure, I'll take the job. And then she figured, well, I'll figure it all out. You know, I'll find something. Initially, she really struggled to find something. She ended up renting an Airbnb for weeks, about a month, paying daily for an Airbnb while she was searching for a house. She spent 3 weeks responding to posted advertisements for apartments before she got a single response. She finally signed a lease on that first apartment, and 2 days later the landlord told her he had changed their mind. They could actually rent it out for more money on Airbnb, so it's odd that Airbnb is a theme here. But so she lost that first apartment that she thought she had. She made a second attempt. She scheduled an appointment, was supposed to sign a lease, meet to sign the paperwork. 2 hours before, she was called and told, sorry, we've rented it to someone else. I had a friend who was about to become homeless, so obviously this landlord needed to prioritize that situation. But it just further illustrates, the capacity within the market to accommodate folks. She then met with a rental company, applied for an apartment, agreed she'd stop by during her lunch hour later that day to sign a lease, and before she could even get there was called and told that someone had gotten there before her, signed the lease, and taken the unit. So, she, for 2 months, managed to get a 2-month summer sublet, brought her checkbook with her, paid in advance for the whole 2 months to guarantee that she had a place to live, and was so excited that for 2 months she knew where she was going to be. Obviously, that's a really short-term solution. So her next step included yet more drama when she had found and signed a lease for a 1-bedroom apartment starting August 1st of that year. She showed up to check on the apartment, found that it was under construction, not habitable. The particular, I don't even know, these are anonymous, by the way. I'm not even sure who we're talking about here, so I apologize if any of these stories sound familiar to anyone. But the apartment was under construction. She couldn't move in. She was told there was not another apartment available. They only had a 2-bedroom, which they wanted 2-bedroom rent for. She said, I'm sorry, I have a lease. I can't afford a 2-bedroom apartment. What can you do for me? Finally, they negotiated something where she could be in that 2-bedroom apartment for the duration of her 1-bedroom apartment lease. But about a year later, they wanted the 2-bedroom apartment rent. She couldn't afford it. She then happened to lose her job and asked, is there anything we can do? Is there any leeway for me? And at that point, the landlord couldn't accommodate her, which is, somewhat understandable. People need an income and need to be able to pay rent. So ultimately what this person had to do was move out of Tompkins County. She is now living with a friend. She has friends, a married couple with a small child. She now lives in Schuyler County and commutes into Tompkins County to work. She helps this couple with their child care needs, and the rent that she pays them, they put into this child's college fund. And the rent's about half what the rent was going to be if she were to continue trying to find a home here. But it's 2016, and this person came here in 2013. And this is everything that she went through as a young professional, trying to, make ends meet with a few different employment options and obviously not very many housing options. And so I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you all being here. I think this is really, it's really one of the most important problems that we could all be investing our time in solving. And it's going to be a long haul. We need to be sitting at a very different place about 10 years from now. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I would just like to really thank our guest for coming up here and telling their personal stories that are so painful. It's not easy to do that, and we really appreciate your being here and being willing to do that. Thank you so much. One thing I want to say, though, is what you have heard is more indicative of the people in this community. And I want to say that so people hear that. And I may offend someone in here, and I'm not sure if I apologize to it. I'll think about that a little later. But those who are NIMBYs, these are the people who are just looking for an opportunity to live and thrive in this community like everybody deserves. So I want you to think about it. And again, I'm sorry, but not for saying that, but just for taking up the time. I want to again thank you so much for being here. I think your words hopefully resonated with folks that they need to resonate with, and that action will result. Will be a result of it. Thank you so much. And now what I'd like to do is invite. You can. I will let you go. Thank you so much.